Hi everyone, this is Krishna Mulagapati. I'm working as assistant professor in Triple Department, St. Peter's Engineering College. Here in this video, I'm going to explain the effect of source inductance on the performance of single phase converter. It's there in power electronics, right? So, without source inductance, so far we seen how the converters are there, like single phase. Fully controlled converter with R load, single phase fully controlled converter with the RL load. It means different loads we connected, but we are just seeing the effect of source inductance. Means for that all the circuits we do not include any inductance at the source side, but we included the inductance at the output side. That what we call RL load. But what will be happen if we connect a resistance, inductance, and capacitance at the source side? But according to our syllabus, we have only source inductance effect on the performance of the single phase converter. Let us see the effect of source inductance on the operation. Right. First, we take the converter circuit. Okay. So first we have to take the converter circuit. So converter circuit consisting of four thyristors. The four thyristors that I have in the form of bridge, right? So I'm going to labeling as based on the conduction of the thyristors like this, and this is T3, and we are going to connect this converter to a RL load. So I am taking RL load, this is L and R, and we are getting output current. Due to flow of output current, we have the output voltage across the output, and the main motor here is, right, look at this, this is my source inductance, okay, and I have the single phase supply like this. I'm connecting in this manner. I'm taking the node as A and B. So this is my source inductance Ls. This is Vs, right? And I'm calling. We know the ratings of single phase supply. Single phase 220 volt 50H AC supply. Okay, there's no need to mention here because we are more focusing on the effect of inductance. Let us see the working, how it is going to be works out. Okay, how do we get the waveforms? So we'll see the performance, we'll see the working. So for every configuration in power electronics, we should take input, output voltage, output current minimum. These three are the minimum waveforms that we have to take into consideration. Right? Draw the input voltage supply. I am taking here 2 cycles like this. I am taking 2 cycles. Am I clear? Right. So next I am taking output voltage. This is my output voltage V naught. This is Vs. Okay. Then we have to take the output current also. This is output current line. So this is output current. So these three are the main parameters that we have to draw the waveforms. Okay, and we have to take some notations. This is pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and this is 4 pi, like that. Next we'll see dotted line, dotted vertical lines. So this is my what? This is my alpha. Alpha means what? Firing angle. Alpha means firing angle. How many angles so far we see? Firing angle, then extension angle, and one more is there, overlap angle. So this is my overlap angle, very important angle in this operation, overlap angle. Okay, next we will draw the dotted lines like this from pi. It's very important to draw like this. This is again alpha for triggering the T3 T4. So second pair of transistors what we have in the configuration. Then again overlap angle here, overlap angle. So overlap angle plays vital role in this operation because of presence of source inductance. Then draw the lines like this. So you can able to draw the waveforms perfectly when you have the practice. It's must and should that you need some practice in drawing the waveforms, right? This is overlap angle again. How many cycles are there? How many cycles? We have 2 cycles. Every cycle having the 2 half cycles. One is positive half cycle, another one is negative half cycle. For every half cycle, we have to take all these things: phi, alpha, and mu, what we call overlap angle. At last, we will take last one also. Here it seems last. We are taking just for reference like this for the third cycle. This is for third cycle. So I am ready to see the working of this particular circuit and effect of this LS. Okay. So first of all, what happened? I am applying an alternating quantity to this circuit. We are getting output as DC. So first I am applying AC. If I am applying AC, what happened? This is plus, this is minus. Sorry, if I am applying positive half cycle, upper terminal is top terminal is plus and bottom terminal is minus. Then current is coming like this and entering into A. So whenever you trigger this T1 and T2 together, you have the current flow through T1 and R, L and back to T2 and B back to the source. Okay. Let us see the direction of it. So first we will start from A to T1, T1 to load, RL load, right? T1 to RL load, then back to T2, then B to A through this. So the current is flowing like this. So here we are, if there is no source inductance, directly the current will flow directly, no problem for that. But what happened is according to the property of inductor. So we have to recollect the property of inductor that it doesn't allow the sudden change in current. It doesn't allow the sudden change in current. Then what happened? Doesn't allow the sudden change in current means current lags behind the applied voltage. So yeah, current is lagging behind the applied voltage, slowly increasing. But what you are trying to do here is you are taking that as a constant current. As we know, the inductor properties, it doesn't allow the sudden change in current, but we are taking it's as a constant for the analysis of this particular circuit. So this is for positive half cycle. Okay, then this is for positive half cycle. For the negative half cycle, what will be this? So negative half cycle, this will be plus, this will be minus. Am I right? Then the current is coming like this, entering into B. B2, T3 is triggered together, T3 and T4 triggered together for the negative half cycle. Then RL load in the same direction, RL load in the same direction, and back to the T4 and to A and B. So this is for negative. So these are the common things that you have to take into consideration. But what happened here? Because of presence of inductance, there is an overlap angle. So I am just showing here overlap angle. This is my alpha. This is my mu. Right? Alpha is the firing angle, mu is the overlap angle. together, what we call alpha plus mu, alpha plus mu. Then what is this angle? So up to this one. Next we'll see the operation. Okay. See, this is my alpha. From alpha only. From alpha only. So this is operation is going on like this. Look at this. During this period, overlap angle period, your T1, T2, T1, T2, T3, T4, all four thyristors are conducting. Whereas this duration, due to the all thyristors are conducting, there exists short circuit and we won't get output voltage. Am I right? Because of whatever the current is there, it won't goes to the load side, only it's circulating through like this. It's circulating through these two short circuit lines. Then look at this, after this alpha only, after this overlap angle mu only, there is we are getting the output voltage. Output voltage due to the conduction of T1 and T2. Due to the conduction of T1 and T2 till this value, till the next alpha. Till the next alpha. So during this period T1, T2 conducts. How do we get this negative value? Because of the inductor at the load side. Because of the inductor at the load side, we already seen the, in case of when we discuss the single phase full converter with R and O. So whenever the L is there, we definitely get the negative voltage at the output side. But what happened is, here what happened? There is a conduction of all four thyristors again, T1, T2, T3, T4 together. Due to that, there exists short circuit and we do not get any output current, output voltage. Then again, after that mu only we are getting output voltage till the next alpha. So during this period, T3, T4 conducts. During this period, T3, T4 conducts. Again, the second cycle repeats. So that's why I am taking this value here, starting. So what are the thyristors conducting in this condition? T3, T4 conducts. T3, T4 continuing their conduction till alpha plus mu apart from the T1 and T2. Because of triggering pulse is giving to T1 and T2, then there comes into conducting state after alpha, but what happened is, so T1, T2, apart from the T1, T2, there is a conduction continuing by the T3, T4, whereby there existing short circuit. So there existing short circuiting here, the current volt goes to the load side. That's why we do not have any load current and we couldn't get any output voltage. That's why we do not have the voltage. Then it is repeating for the second cycle like this. So during this period, T1, T2 conducting. After that, no voltage because of the overlap, means conduction of all four thyristors together. We are unable to get the output voltage. So this period what happened? T1, T2, T3, T4 all are going to be conducting. Right, then here also same thing, T1, T2, T3, T4 are conducting. After this again we are getting for next option. So this is the way we are getting the output voltage, the effect of source inductance here. So here my question here is, okay, listen the question carefully. If there exists short circuit in this configuration because of all thyristors conducting, is that short circuit affecting the whole system or not? If that is short circuit current affecting the whole system or not? For that the answer is, because of placing the LS inductance at the source side, even though there exists short circuit in this configuration, that doesn't affect on the rest of the source, rest of the part at the source side. because as we know the property of inductance, it doesn't allow the sudden change. This is why there is no that much big effect of source, the big effect of short circuit current, which is there occurring in the operation, couldn't make any damage this rest of the circuit at the source side. So that's why no issue for the no issue of that short circuit current in this circuit, because we have the two inductances. This is a large amount of inductance at the output side because of its inductive load. The designing values of inductive load is more and more. Okay, and somewhat level better designing values for the LS to avoid the short circuit current values which are occurring in the operation. Next we have to see the, so this is the voltage waveform. Okay, this is the effect of, this is the effect of source inductance. Means what? After triggering pulse alpha given to the T1 T2, definitely T1 T2 conducting, so T1 T2 conduct, T1 and T2 conducts, but what happened is T3 T4 till conducting because of LS. As we know, LS doesn't allow the sudden change in current. It's still containing its value. And one more thing is that it's a storing element. LS is a storing element. Due to the storage effect, is whenever the supply is not available for that. Whenever the supply is not available, it becomes the source for the circuit. Thereby, it is trying to pumping the source, pumping the values to the system. That's why thereby what happened, T3, T4 till in conduction state during the overlap angle period. What do you mean by overlap angle? It is the angular period where incoming and outgoing thyristors conducting. What are the incoming thyristors? What are the outgoing thyristors? T3, T4 are the outgoing thyristors. T1, T2 are the incoming thyristors. Why do we call that thyristors like that? As we know, we are applying the firing pulse to the incoming thyristors. Firing pulse applied thyristors are called incoming thyristors. The thyristors which are already conducting are going to be stop their conduction are called outgoing thyristors. Means what? Here the T3 T4 trying to away from the trying to comes back to the forward blocking state. That's why these are called outgoing thyristors, and T2 T1 and T2 are called the incoming thyristors. Okay, let us see the current waveform, how the current will be there at the output. Okay, look at this. Okay, very simple to understand this. See this, T1 T2 conducting. During T1 T2 conducting, what is the current flowing through this? So I can say this is current is I1 current that I am calling. Simple small letters, you take small letters. I am calling I1 current which is flowing through the T1 and T2. Then I am calling the current which is flowing through the T3 and T4 is I2. T3 and T4, the current flowing through the T3 and T4 is I2. Current flowing through the T1 and T2 is the I1, right? Okay, whenever T1, T2 conducts, current I1 is flowing. Am I clear? Whenever T1, T2 conducts, current I1 is flowing. From this to this point of time to this point of time, current is flowing, no? Then I can say this is I1 current. This is I1, right? Okay. Next, whenever T3 T4 only conducting, whenever from this point to this point, T3 T4 conducting, T3 T4 conducting, I am calling this one is I2 current. Next, whenever T1 T2 conducts, current is I1. Next, whenever T3 T4 conducts, current is I2. Right? Then here also same thing. This is I2. If I am not wrong, this is I2. Then what happened in case of overlap angle? That's very important in this connection, in this effect of source inductance. During this period, we already saying that T1, T2, T3, T4 conducting. Means what? Outgoing thyristors, current which is flowing through the outgoing thyristors trying to reduce from its maximum value. Okay, and as we said, T1, T2 are the incoming thyristors. That time onwards only they are going to be conducting. That's why they are allowing the current to flow. Got it? So initially, what happened is before alpha there is no I1 current flowing. There is no I1 current flowing. After alpha, what happened is, so immediately the current is current I1 trying to flows to the increasing. Means what? Because of inductors present in the circuit, the current must be flow through these two inductors. That's why it doesn't allow the sudden change. That's why you are getting like this. Meanwhile, what happened is T3, T4 are outgoing thyristors, so they must be comes to forward blocking state, and the current which is flowing through the T3, T4 trying to reduce like this. Got my point? The same manner happened here also. So due to this what happened? There is no conduction of T3, T4 till this point. Thereafter, T3, T4 are triggered together. T3, T4 triggered together for the negative half cycle supply. Then immediately they are going to be conducting and allow the current to flow. And the same thing happened here also. Look at this. So after this, current through T3, T4 reducing to zero value from its maximum, and till the point we do not get the any current I2 current through T3. Then again triggered there T3, T4 triggered incoming thyristors. Then it allows the current to flow. Then what about current through T1 and T2? So far we got the current through T1 and T2. At this point, T1, T2 are the outgoing thyristors, T3, T4 are the incoming thyristors. Am I right? T1, T2 are the outgoing thyristors, T3, T4 are the incoming thyristors. So T1, T2, the current flowing through T1, T2 is the I1, which is trying to become 0 up to this point. After that again T1, T2 are the incoming thyristors, getting more current. So T1, T2 are the outgoing thyristors, 0 current. Again, this current. So this way the operation takes place. Am I clear? So this is very important current waveform. So at this overlap angle, what will be the output current? At this overlap angle, what will be the output current? The average of I1 and I2. Generally, what we call is when you apply KCL to this point. When you apply KCL to this point, you will get the output current. I1 is incoming current, I2 is incoming current, I0 is the outgoing current. Then I1 plus I2 is equal to I0. So means what? We are getting continuous current there, but at overlap angle we do not get any current there, because one is increasing mode, other one is decreasing mode. So we have one derivation and one equivalent circuit for this. So continuation of this one is, we'll see. So this is a equivalent circuit when it is there in mu overlap angle. Okay. So this is for positive half cycle. V1 is the positive half cycle voltage, and during positive half cycle T1, T2 conducting, then current is coming like this. If the current is entering into this node, what happen? These are seems to be reverse bias, then the entire current is coming like this for the positive half cycle. For the negative half cycle, what happen? So these are going to be conducting, T3, T4 are conducting, and current is trying to enter into this node. If the current is trying to move, these are seems to be reverse bias, entire current is coming like this. So this is a parallel circuit, right? This is a parallel circuit. Then we can apply the KVL for this. We can apply the KVL for this. So if you apply the KVL for this, what is the equation? Right? Look at this. I am writing here. So V1 minus LS, the current flowing through LS, that branch is di1 upon dt. So T1, T2, neglecting the switching losses across the T1 and T2, across the semiconductor devices. which is equal to, because of voltage across this branch and this branch is same, that's why I'm taking like this. Then V2 minus Ls, this one, V2 minus Ls, the current flowing through Ls in this case is di2. So this is very important one, the basic equation when you apply the KVL to this particular equivalent circuit. After that, we need to simplify this whole. Okay, look at this. I am just simplifying it. V1 minus V2 is equal to, I am just bringing this one to that side. Ls of, if you are bringing this minus values to that right side, you will get a plus value. Thus, d1 of d1 di1 by dt minus di2 upon dt. So from this, one more thing that we have to remember is, as I said, this is positive half cycle, then V1 is equal to Vm sin omega t, right? V2 is equal to minus Vm sin omega t, because this is negative half cycle, minus sin omega t. Just you substitute these two in this equation, we will get 2Vm sin omega t is equal to Ls di1 upon dt minus di2 upon dt. So from this, what we can write? So we can get the equation for di1 upon dt minus di2 upon dt is equal to, bring the Ls to the left side, then 2Vm by Ls sin omega t. Look at this, sin omega t. This is the basic equation to be remembered as equation number 1. Okay, so continuous, we'll see next equations. Next we'll see. So as I said, this current is I1, this current is I2. Then when you apply KCL here, then what we get? So KCL, then I1 plus I2 is equal to I0. Right? I1 plus I2 is equal to I0. Just what I am doing is differentiate this KCL equation, di1 upon dt plus di2 upon dt is equal to, constant will become 0. I am taking this as 2. Okay, so I have two equations. One is di1 upon dt minus di2 upon dt is equal to 2Vm upon Ls sin omega t, and di1 plus dy1 upon dt plus di2 upon dt is equal to 0. With the help of these two, I am going to get it. There are two variables and we have the two equations. Then we can able to get the equations for the di1 and di1 of dt and di2 of dt. Right? We will take the equations directly. Okay. So first we will see. So first we will take, after comparing these two 1 and 2, from 1 and 2, what we are getting is, from 1 and 2 we can get di1 upon dt is equal to Vm upon Ls sin omega t. Vm upon Ls sin omega t. I am calling this as equation number 3. Okay. Then as we know what? Load current is I1 through T1 and T2 will become maximum from its 0 value after triggering alpha, right? Means what? T1 T2 conduction builds up the I1 to I0 values during the overlapping. So we have to take two conditions here. The condition number 1 is at omega t. So we'll take here at omega t equal to alpha, at omega t equal to alpha, the current I1 is equal to 0. Am I right? Means what? At that time only T1, T2 trigger together. Then at omega t equal to alpha plus mu, at omega t equal to alpha plus mu, this I1 current reaches to I0. That what we are calling that this symbol we have taken now. So this is what I0 increasing. This is overlap angle. This is overlap angle duration, right? So from this duration, so it is coming from 0 to maximum value. This I am calling is I0. Am I right? Sorry, I1. So we just substitute these two values in this equation. What we got here? So equation here is this one, di1 upon dt is equal to Vm upon Ls sin omega t. Just you substitute that values by doing the integration. Right? Can you have this? So this is not required. Okay. Then when I substitute limits like that, you will get one equation for this. That is integral 0 to I naught, that is di1 is equal to, so these are the constants, Vm upon Ls 0 to, so there we have to take this is the time interval we have to take, then time equal to alpha by mu, and here also t equal to alpha plus mu upon omega. So thereby what you are getting, alpha by omega, alpha plus mu upon omega sin omega t dt. It is in terms of dt, but we have the omega. So when you do integration this, we are getting I naught is equal to, it's very important equation. So Vm upon omega Ls, Vm upon omega Ls of cos alpha minus cos alpha plus mu, cos alpha plus mu, like that. This is equation number 4 that I am taking. So this equation number 4 plays vital role for the effect of source inductance on the voltage regulation in this single phase converter. Okay, next we'll discuss about the output voltage. How does output voltage changes based on the effect of source inductance, right? As you know, output voltage is 0 from alpha. Already seen in a waveform. Output voltage is 0 from alpha to alpha plus mu, because no output current, no output voltage. The average output voltage we are taking as average output voltage from what? Alpha plus mu to then pi plus alpha. During this timings only we are getting output voltage that I am calling as V0x. Okay, just I am wrapping that equivalent circuit. So just remember this, during this alpha plus mu onwards to pi plus alpha we are getting output. So this is common. So these are the two limits for the simplifying the output voltage for this circuit. Right? Let's take this one. That is, I am calling this as a V0x, which is equal to, the duration is 1 by pi integral alpha plus mu, upper limit is pi plus alpha Vm sin omega t d omega t, sin omega t d omega t. This is the output voltage that we are getting when we have the source inductance. After alpha plus mu only we are getting the output till pi plus alpha. So after doing simplification this equation we will get Vm upon pi, right, cos alpha plus cos alpha plus mu. So you need to do the some simplification for this, right? Then average value of output voltage, when you take average value means what? So during this period also we have to take alpha to alpha mu. This is duration. This duration we do not get any voltage. That's why we need to go for one more calculation for this, right? Further, what happened? Generally, we are taking equation. If in this case also we are getting some value, then what happened is I am calling that as V naught. V naught x is different and V naught is different, right? So V naught x, then again we are going for calculating the V naught x. After this, generally what we are calling is 2Vm upon pi cos alpha. You can see this one in case of RL load alone. V naught is equal to 2Vm upon pi cos alpha. This is where the RL load alone without source inductance. Generally, I am just repeating this equation. Then due to this, what happened during this condition, during this time, we are not at all getting the output voltage. We are getting output voltage for this duration only. So we need to go for one more calculation for this V naught x. Then for that V naught x, I am taking here V naught x is equal to maximum mean output voltage, maximum mean output voltage upon 2 into this one cos alpha plus cos alpha plus mu. Please remember this. From this what you are getting, V naught x output value is okay. For this maximum mean output voltage is required now. Maximum mean output voltage is required. So I am not this portion. After this one is not required, right? Okay, look at this. So we need to take the maximum mean output voltage. Maximum mean output voltage I am indicating with the maximum output voltage. Maximum mean output voltage. That is 2Vm upon pi. Actually, what happened is there is cos alpha, right? Cos alpha we are taking up to 90 degrees. Then what happened is cos alpha is 0. Suppose alpha equal to 0, when you substitute here alpha equal to 0 degrees, then what we are getting? Simply this is 2m upon pi. This is what we call maximum voltage, maximum output voltage that we are getting for alpha equal to 0. That means it. So just you write down this one here. Then we are getting V naught m by 2 cos alpha plus cos alpha plus mu. So this I am calling equation number 5. Equation number 5, right? So far we got 5 equations. So next we'll see the we just replace this cos alpha and cos alpha plus mu from this equation. Okay, just you write down the equation for cos alpha from this. Then what we got, cos alpha plus mu is equal to, we are getting like this, cos alpha minus omega ls upon Vm into I naught. So this I am calling 6. Simply I am substituting this sixth equation in. Substitute 6 the equation in 5. 6 in 5. If you substitute 6 in 5, then what we are getting? You just replace this VOM with this total one. After that, we are getting V naught x equal to 2Vm upon pi cos alpha minus omega ls upon pi I naught. So this is also a very important equation. So I am calling this as equation number 7. Right? Next we'll see one more equation. Okay? That equation is, I am just rub this part. I don't want this part. Right? And I don't want this also. This is already closed. Right? I am taking here again from 4. Again from 4. Now what I am doing is from 4th equation I am writing equation for cos alpha. If I write equation for cos alpha, what will be this? If I write equation for cos alpha, then cos alpha will become cos alpha plus mu, right, plus omega ls upon Vm into I naught. This is equation number 8. I am calling. You substitute 8 in 5. Substitute 8 in 5. You will get V naught x equal to. So we will write here. V naught x equal to 2Vm upon pi cos alpha plus mu plus omega ls upon pi I naught. This is equation number 9. So equation number 7, equation number 9, both are very important here. So from this we can write one, we can draw the one equivalent circuit and one voltage regulation. Means what? How that output voltage being changed from 0 to maximum value during the operation of this, during the effect of source inductance. Next we'll see. So these are not required, all these things. Okay. Then go to equivalent circuit. Equivalent circuit is, so I am taking like this. This is my 2Vm upon pi cos alpha. Right? Then I am indicating with one diode that the forward direction current, unidirection current, then one equivalent value for the inductance omega ls upon pi, right? Then we have the output voltage like this. This is V naught x. And current flowing through is I naught. So this is my equivalent circuit. So with this equivalent circuit, we can say voltage regulation, how that voltage being regulated with the help of, by the change of current, output current. So this is V naught x, right? So what happened is, so it is like this. This point is upper point. I am calling this is one more point P. Okay. At this point, what will be the slope for this? Slope, it is minus omega ls upon pi is the slope. Slope for the curve. So what is this point? This point is what? I naught is 0. I naught is 0 means what? Alpha equal to 0. Right? We will write the points here. So this point is nothing but Vm upon pi cos alpha, that is I naught equal to 0, where mu is equal to 0. Mu is equal to 0 means there is no overlap angle. So if there is no overlap angle, we are getting the point maximum value, maximum current value like this 2Vm upon pi cos alpha, the current value is 0. Right? Then this point, what will be this point? Generally what happened? V naught equal to 0 now. This I am calling here is V naught x is equal to 0, where mu is equal to pi. Okay, mu is equal to pi. So what will be current value here? I naught is equal to 2Vm upon omega ls cos alpha, if I am not wrong. Right? So this is the way the voltage regulation takes place in this single phase converter when the source inductance is presented. There we have to remember few things about this. Okay, so in that equivalent circuit diode we placed a diode that D is indicating the unidirectional nature of current. Okay, unidirectional nature of current. Then it reveals what the effect of source inductance, that is Ls of equivalent inductance value omega Ls upon pi, which is in series with the internal voltage 2m upon pi cos alpha, right? When we know that we know from these characteristics what we can say, that is when mu is less than mu is less than means overlap angle is less than pi, the output voltage will be v naught x equal to 2m upon pi cos alpha. Okay, cos alpha minus omega ls upon pi I naught. This is slope minus omega ls by I naught. I naught is going to be increasing. Then if when at omega equal to pi, at omega equal to at mu equal to pi, what happened? At mu equal to pi, we are getting output voltage is 0 because as load gets permanently short circuited by all SCRs conducting during the overlap period. Okay, during the overlap period mu. So that we already seen in waveforms. So this is all about the source effect of source inductance on the performance of single phase converter. As same as the source inductance, we may be having the source resistance, we may be having the some capacitive source may be there, then there is effect of capacitance. But what happened is, according to our syllabus, we are only taking the consideration this source inductance effect. Okay, we'll see the other topic in the next video. Thank you.